Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Dr. Vijay Jain. I am an Ayurvedic physician. Long history. I was a surgeon for 40 years and retired from surgery. And for last 25 years, I've been practicing Ayurveda. It's a long history how I got into Ayurveda, but we won't go into that. Right now, I have a clinic in Palm Coast, Florida, where we have patients. We also do retreats for these patients once a month for 8 days, where they come for Panchakarma or detoxification program. So I'm not sure whether you're familiar with Ayurveda, but if not, then you should buy one of my books, which is that Pure Indian Foods, which is here. I've got a copy of it to show you, a guide to Ayurvedic cooking. I wrote it during the COVID. A lot of my clients were asking me to send them the recipes, so I went ahead and wrote a book. I've got another book which is called Unfolding Happiness, and that is also available through my website, which is mindbodywellnessflorida.com. So that's as far as my introduction. So let's come to today's recipe, which is going to be a Mung Dahl pancakes. In India, we used to call it chila. It's a very famous recipe in India for breakfast. I don't mind it having for lunch because it is savory and it is spicy, but not spicy hot. So that is what we like during breakfast. In Ayurveda, we talk about 6 tastes which are important in every meal of the day. So if all the 6 tastes are present in every meal, then we don't have cravings. So, you probably have seen that after eating a meal, you have cravings to have coffee or chocolate or sweets. That is because all the 6 tastes are not in the proper proportion in the meal. So every recipe which I have in the book has all the 6 tastes in it. And that satisfies all the 6 taste buds on the tongue, and then you don't have any cravings. Let me just give you a brief introduction, a 2-minute introduction on 6 tastes. They are sweet, sour, salt, pungent, bitter, and astringent. And you can again look into my book and go over those tastes yourself. And as we go through the recipe, I will tell you which taste is which particular ingredient signifies that particular taste. So Mung Dal is a lentil, and what we have done is we have got a flour made out of that lentil. So it's got Mung Dal flour. You can get it at Pure Indian Foods, or you can get it on Amazon, whichever you like. It is one of the best lentils because it has got a shell on. It is not deshelled, so it is not a shell lentil. So you got a shell, therefore it is high in fiber and also high in protein. Its composition of amino acids is very excellent. When you combine it with white rice or brown rice, it almost complements the 100% requirement for all the essential amino acids. So we use that quite a lot in Ayurveda, especially for during the time we are going through detoxification. So that is Mung Dal. So we have got Mung Dal flour right here. If you look at it, it is slightly greenish in color because the Mung Dal is green in color. And this is the flour made from that. So it has got this, the germ as well as the shell, everything is in that flour. The other ingredients which we will be needing for this are ginger, grated ginger, the coriander, fresh coriander, and then I've got spices which are Himalayan salt, fenugreek, which is grinded. Then I've got some garam masala. I've got some cumin seeds and some hing. Hing is a special spice we put in preparations for lentil because it helps us prevent gas production, because lentils are sweet and astringent in taste, and astringent can increase gas production. Most of the time when we are using flour, it doesn't happen that much because the lentil has been washed thoroughly before drying and making into powder. Therefore, it does not produce as much gas. But still, I put a little bit of hing in there. And you have to use very small amount of hing. In Latin, it is called asphodida. So this is a very important spice in Ayurveda. We use it a lot for digestion. It has got a lot of digestive enzymes and therefore prevents indigestion and also avoids any gas production. In Ayurveda, digestion is the most important part of your body systems. If your digestion is not good, the entire body will not function good. So we pay a lot of importance to the digestion, how the food we are eating is getting digested, and also it is supporting the bacterium in the gut, because we got a large bacterium in our gut totaling to about 3 trillion cells. 30 trillion cells. Our total body is composed of 3 trillion cells, but 30 trillion cells are bacteria, viruses, fungi, and ricochet. So we need to take care of those bacterium in the gut because it's a symbiotic relationship, and all our recipes are to promote that bacterium. For example, the ghee, the cultured ghee, we use it from Pure Indian Foods, is specifically prepared to support as a probiotic for the bacterium. It is an excellent probiotic. The spices which I showed you, they're all prebiotic in nature. So you don't have to take probiotics and all. In Ayurveda, we say food should provide you everything you need. You don't need vitamins, you don't need probiotics, because everything should be in the food. And the preparations are geared to support your bacterium in the gut. So here on this side, I've got ingredients for making the chutney. So today we are going to serve it with 2 chutneys. One I've already made, that is the coriander chutney, which is right here. And the second one I'm going to make is mint coconut chutney. So it is again in my book. You can prepare it. I'm going to start preparing the chutney first so that when we eat, we are ready to go ahead and eat. So the chutney requires a cup of mint leaves, which I've taken care of, 2 tablespoons of lemon, coconut, shredded coconut, sesame seeds, half a cup of water, I put a little more than that, and then we'll put a little ghee in there. So it's a very simple chutney which will help augment the preparation we are making today. So about a teaspoon of ghee in there, and then blenderize it. Smells delicious. Smell it. It's all minty. It is cooling. In summer, it is very good recipe to have. So we'll be using this chutney today. And we also have the coriander chutney. Now let's come back to our main recipe. It's good to heat your hot plate. This is carbon, or you can get iron, or iron is the best cast iron plate. If you make it very hot, because when you make these pancakes, you need to have the plate very hot. So I've got it on hot. We are going to take 1 cup of the Mung Dahl powder, 2 cups of water, and we're going to stir it. In that, I need to put 1 teaspoon of garam masala, 1.5 teaspoon of Himalayan salt, 1 teaspoon of fenugreek, and 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds. So we are going to put all those in there. We'll put ginger, grated ginger, and coriander leaves, fresh coriander leaves. And we stir all that. Okay, so now we have our batter, which we are going to use to make the pancakes. And our pan is getting hot. I like to use the stainless steel to move the pancake so that it doesn't stick or doesn't get damaged. And a spoon, like an ice cream scoop or any other scoop, which is about 2 tablespoons, we can take it. And We let it cook. There'll be little air bubbles will come on surface of it. If you want to show them the structure of it, just from the top. It cooks very fast. Once it starts cooking, I usually reduce the heat to about 3/4, and we'll put a little bit of ghee on the surface of the pancake. So you see the margins are getting a little brown, and so now this is the first one is always not good because the pan was not hot enough. But anyway, we'll get better. We'll start with the other. Let's let it go. Okay, let's try this. Now the pan is hot, so this will be good. So you can see bubbles have started to form on the surface. One thing one has to remember that you want to have it well cooked. It should not be partially cooked because not only it will not taste good, it will also be not good for your digestion. So I'm looking for these bubbles which are appearing. And secondly, I look for the margins which are getting a little brown. And I put a little bit of ghee on the top. And then you can easily peel it off and turn it around. And you see the golden brown color on the surface. That is what you're looking for. So we want to make sure it's cooked well on both sides. Again, you want to eat them when they're hot, because if you let them cool, they're not as tasty. So whenever we make it on a Sunday or something, everybody sits around right in front of me, because we got 4 seats. Everybody sits around and you pass from one to another, and you are the one who eat at the last. So this is now done, and we will serve it. Let me put another one before I. So we will serve it with mint coconut chutney. And then Grace will tell us whether it's good or not. Here we go. And eat it with your hand. It's very savory. Mint and coconut brings down the heat from the spices in the batter. So it will balance it out. Good.
Very good.
It looks good. How's the chutney?
Very good.
There you have it. We got an independent observer here. One of the massage disappeared. Okay, there we go. All right, so we are making the second one, which the bubbles have already started coming up. And I put a little bit of ghee on top. And I'm waiting for the margins to get a little brown, and then I'll turn it over. See that now the brown on the top, it is well cooked. So just make sure it cooks well on the other side. It's a very simple recipe. It takes about half an hour from start to finish, making the chutney as well as the pancake, and very savory. It's not too much spices, right? The mint and coconut should be cooling. Yeah. Now the other one, the coriander chutney, has got a little bit of chilies in it. So that may be heating, but that's why I gave you that. While I'm making it, does anybody have any question? And Courtney Rose from Pure Indian Foods is moderating the session, and she will be able to send any of your questions to me. She will read it out to me. So if you put it in your chat button, and at the bottom, you see a chat. Just write your question, and then Courtney can read it out to me, and I'll answer that question.
Dr. Jain, we have a few questions in the chat already, if you're ready to answer them.
Sure, go ahead.
We have a few people that were requesting a repeat of the cilantro chutney.
Okay, so cilantro chutney, you need to take fresh cilantro, about half cup of fresh cilantro, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, the little bit of sesame seeds, little bit of green chili, if you like chili, otherwise salt, and a little bit of honey to balance the taste of the chilies. So that you mix it in the blender, and that will be good. Let me make sure that I told you all the ingredients. It is on
what's the best chutney for Vata?
And you can also put a little bit of grated coconut in it and ginger. So that should take care of it. So coriander, lemon juice, water, grated coconut, fresh ginger, honey, and sea salt.
I can show that to, I can show it.
Yeah.
This is the recipe.
And what's the best chutney for Vata dosha?
Okay, so most of the chutneys are good for Vata. All chutney in my book are good for Vata. Pittas need to be careful that they don't put any chilies or heating spices in it. And they need to have more like a coconut mint chutney, which I made, that is good for Pitta.
And Dr. Jain, how are you making the Mung Dal powder?
Okay, you can buy it already prepared. I don't know whether your shop has it or not, Courtney. The
Our
Mung Dal.
shop, we have the split husked Mung Dal, which
Yeah.
we turn into powder by
Yeah, so,
grinding.
it requires a very fine grinder to do that. So most of the time I buy them ready-made. You can get organic Mung Dal powder or flour from Amazon or from any Indian store.
And
It's like making the flour. You can't make flours at home because you need a very fine grinder to do that.
why is ghee the preferred oil in Ayurveda?
Oh, that's a big question. So ghee has many benefits. Number one, it is good for Vata and Pitta. It reduces both Vata as well as Pitta. It is, even though it is a fat, it is cooling for Pitta, which is no other oil has that characteristics that it can be good for both Vata and Pitta. The second thing is that it has the best combination of monosaturated, polysaturated, polyunsaturated, and saturated fat and fatty acids. It's similar to that of plasma. So it's very easily digested and absorbed. It improves the digestive fire in the body. And also, as I said, the cultured ghee supports your bacterium in the gut. So those are the benefits. Now, you can choose to do it with sesame oil if you don't like ghee, but ghee is preferred most of the time in Ayurveda. Unless you are a vegan, then you can go with sesame. Sesame is heating and astringent. So sesame is very good alternative to ghee in this particular recipe.
Janet says, salt in the Indian diet, they say one should restrict salt. Any comments from Dr. Jain?
Okay, so there is no such thing in Ayurveda that you have to restrict salt for everybody. In Ayurveda, we do not make a generalized statement that something is good for everybody or something is not good for everybody. We say Vatas should have an appropriate amount of salt, Pitta should have less salt, and Kapha should have less salt. So in Pitta and Kapha individuals, we advise them to use salt substitutes like Bragg's liquid amino or coconut amino. But a small amount of Himalayan salt or sea salt is good because it has got not only the salt, but also some minerals in it, which are essential. We do not use table salt in Ayurveda. The pure iodized table salt is not used in Ayurveda at all because it is harmful to all doshas. We use either Himalayan salt, rock salt, um, or the mineral salt, or river salt, or sea salt, or black salt. And different recipes call for different types of salts. So there are many different salts which are available, and we use all of them in Ayurveda. Salt increases your digestive fire. It also helps you make the food tasty. So little bit of salt is okay. Too much salt is not good. Did that answer your question?
I think that answered the question. We have a lot of people asking where they can buy such a good quality cast iron griddle plate.
Oh, I think we got it at Indian grocery store.
You'd probably look online for
On
such
Indian-
a thing.
Depending upon where you are, we have a Patel Brothers here, which is very good store. They have a lot of these things. Or try Amazon. Amazon has everything from A to Z. So you should be able to find it on Amazon.
Dr. Jain, why is honey not cooked in Ayurveda?
Honey is not cooked because when you heat the honey, it turns into toxic products because it destabilizes the protein in the honey and causes the body cannot digest it properly and it turns into toxins. So we do not heat honey at all.
Eswar asks, how can we get iodine if we use pink salt?
You can get iodine from a lot of green leaves, green bitter leaves. You can also get it from seaweed. There are many other sources. I mean, your natural food should contain enough iodine to support you. This idea of having excess iodine in the body is not a good idea. Too much iodine is not good.
Would you suggest to dry roast lightly mung dal before grinding it? For people with very weak digestion, will this step in the dal prep be advised?
I'm cooking them very well here. So I don't think you need to roast it. I mean, is somebody trying to grind it themselves? I would advise against it unless you have a very good grinder, which will make it into a fine powder. For this recipe, you need a fine powder, not a 2 or 3 grade crystals, because that will not make a good recipe. Show them the mung dal. Here is the mung dal powder. You see how finely grated it is. And so I would suggest that you can. I mean, the question was whether you can roast and then do it. Yes, you can. There's no harm in doing it. If you want to do a good grinding and you want to roast it first, nothing wrong with that.
All right. And we have another question. Are pancakes okay during a khichdi cleanse?
No, they're not.
No?
No, because it's a partially fried food, lightly fried food. So I would not recommend it during khichdi cleanse.
And just to clarify, is this mung dal powder made from the dehusked mung dal?
No, it is husked mung dal,
Uh-huh.
the green mung dal, which has got the shell on it.
Got it. If someone wanted to use soaked mung dal,
That's the center.
what would be the proportion with water?
Say that again.
I don't quite understand the question either. If I want to make a blend from soaked mung dal, what's the proportion with water?
If you have soaked mung dal, and then what are you doing with that? This is not made from soaked mung dal.
Right.
It is made from the powder from the mung dal. So after you soak it, there's a lot of water in it already. Are you going to grind it? I'm not understanding the question.
Can you make the batter by soaking whole grain mung dal overnight in water and then blending it the next day? Would that give the same batter as the mung dal powder?
It could. You need to reduce the amount of water in that blend. You'll have to trial and error and see how much water you should have in that.
And why the green mung dal instead of yellow mung dal?
Yellow mung dal is nothing but washed mung dal. Green mung dal is washed and split. That is yellow mung dal. So yellow mung dal doesn't have any husk, doesn't have any fiber in it. It is for easy digestion. That is what we use the yellow mung dal for. So the purpose here is that it should also support your gut biome. And I want fiber. I want yellow mung dal will not taste as good. I've never done it with it, but I don't think it will taste as good.
Is it okay to eat khichdi and the mung dal pancakes for a meal?
I don't know why you would do that, because this is a very filling. This is quite filling. One pancake, I probably can eat two. That's about it.
Yeah, me too.
It's very filling. Mung dal is very filling. Those of you who have tried it in khichdi is very filling. And it's easily digested, so you get hungry 3-4 hours later. So that's why people use it for breakfast, because then they can go for lunch. But there's nothing wrong with eating khichdi with it if you feel that hungry, or if you want to have it as a side dish. There's no contraindication of using it in that.
Are you able to add rice flour to the mung dal flour?
No. Rice and mung dal, they cook at a different temperatures. So it will become very mushy if you try to combine the two. Now there is another pancake which we make, which is also in my book, that is called chickpea flour pancakes. They are extremely heavy, so you can only have one and you're full. But it's also a very good one. If you want to mix urad dal, which is another lentil, and rice, you need to ferment both of them overnight, so that then when you cook them, they will cook together, and that is what we call as dosa. Dosa is made from urad dal and rice, fermented overnight with fenugreek seeds, and that we make into dosa. That's very delicious recipe also.
What temperature is your pan on for cooking?
I was on high first, and I'm now on medium. So first I start out on high till the pan is very hot. My first one didn't work out because pan was not hot enough. So your pan has to be hot when you do this.
Do you add any grated veggies to the pancake?
Graded?
Vegetables?
Oh, no, no. I think it will not spread properly. If you're going to use any vegetable, like we use coriander, I chopped it very fine so that it is part of the batter and is not coming out as separate. But you can use seeds, like I use cumin seeds in it. I use black cumin seeds, which are very healthy. You can also put partially grinded coriander seed if you want to. But the less you do, the better it is. You know, the real taste of it comes from your chutney and this combined. Any other questions?
Is your cookbook on Amazon?
Actually, Pure Indian Foods carries it, and it's also available on Amazon. Also available on my website, which is mindbodywellnessflorida.com.
I'll put those links in the chat for your book.
Any other questions? So how many people in this group practice Ayurveda? Just by the yes or no. Let me see how many people do practice Ayurveda.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
Wow, that's great.
12, 13. People are still replying. I have another question. Are all 6 tastes in this recipe?
Yes. So let's go over the taste. Mung dal is sweet and astringent. The smaller the lentil, the more astringent it is. We put coriander, which is bitter. We put salt, Himalayan salt. We put fenugreek, which is bitter. We put cumin seeds, which are mildly pungent. We put garam masala, which is a combination of several spices, which is pungent. And in your chutney, we have lemon juice, which is sour, and mint, which is cooling, pungent, and coconut, which is sweet. So that's why we combine the two in such a way that all 6 tastes are present.
Few more questions. What are the best sources of protein within the Ayurvedic diet?
Proteins are available in many sources. Well, the question which you asked is Ayurvedic diet. See, Ayurveda is not vegetarian. Ayurveda also encourages meat. Okay. If your question is vegan diet, I can answer you. So if you clarify that question, are you asking vegan diet or are you asking the Ayurvedic diet?
They're asking Ayurvedic diet.
Okay, in Ayurveda, you
vegetarian Ayurvedic.
So vegetarian includes dairy. I'm vegan, so I don't use any dairy. But if you are vegetarian, you can use dairy. So milk products will have protein. Milk and milk products, cheese, yogurt, and milk. The proteins come from peas, soybeans, pea protein of chickpeas, and all the lentils have a lot of protein in them. And then they also come from green leafy vegetables, arugula, spinach, kale, collard greens, mustard greens. Everything has protein in it. So, where does the elephant get his protein from? From eating greens and grass. We get the protein from everything in vegetarian food has protein. As long as you don't put too much of fat and carbohydrates are plenty. This obsession about too much protein, Ayurveda does not condone it. Ayurveda says protein should be in proper proportion to the constitution of the person. So body weight wise, Vatas need the more proteins than Kaphas. Kaphas require the least amount of protein because they already have enough substance in their body. So again, it depends on the individual how much protein you need. And but there are so many sources, as I enumerated, dairy, peas of different kinds, including soybeans, which has many preparation, including tofu and tempeh and edamame. You have got all the green leafy vegetables. They all have a lot of proteins.
If I can't have seeds, is it okay to grind the sesame seeds in the recipe?
Yes.
I have someone that wants to unmute to ask a question. That's fine. You can go ahead and unmute.
Hi, everyone. The question about the blend, water and Mung Dahl. This is what I do because I cannot find organic flour made out of Mung Dahl, either yellow or green. So what somebody taught me from India, just to soak overnight and then grind together and becoming powder. But the question was for you, what's the proportion of water? And I understood, as you said, when I'm making it too loose, I'm making just kind of like thin pancakes, like a flat bread. It's great, it's dry, kids love that, but you making it's a little bit thicker. So would you support, what's the proportion?
Well, I've never made it that way, so I cannot tell you exact proportion. You will have to try it yourself. Once you have grinded the soaked mung, add water to make it liquidy. So if you saw, I had very liquidy. It was very liquidy substance. So it is like the consistency of honey. That's what I make out of it. So you put enough amount of water to make that consistency.
Also, I never made that way from green ones, which is still with the shell. Is it okay to do that?
That's what I'm saying, the green one. I do not recommend that you make it from yellow mung.
I was making it only because, like you said, I learned this is much easier to digest.
If you add proper spices, this is not difficult to digest.
Actually I'm adding lots of spices and also cilantro. Okay, I'll try. I just don't know. I don't know the composition, basically proportion. I see
But
this.
if you digest it, then we need to probably give you some digestive herbs to help you digest it.
Right.
Because that means your digestive fire is very weak.
Right.
And we need to look at it, why it is so weak.
Oh, we know why. We're working on it. Thank you very much.
Anything else?
Yes, we have a few more.
Sure.
Could you suggest a vegan source of protein? And as a follow-up to that, on the vegan diet, would I need supplements?
Okay, again, my answer is going to be based on your constitution. Vegan proteins are in all your beans. The larger the bean, the more protein it has. So soya bean, fava bean, navy bean, black bean have more protein than mung bean or brown beans or red beans. So that is one principle. So if you want more protein, you will go with a bigger protein like chickpeas or navy bean or black beans or fava beans, which require much more digestive fire. So you have to make sure that you make it with a lot of spices to support it. Then your biggest source is soya beans, which is available in many different forms. Edamame, soya burgers, tofu, tempeh, they all have extremely large amount of protein. And Grace, go into my cupboard, and on the right upper, there's a box of Zenb, Z-E-N-B. So I recently discovered a pasta which is made from pea protein, and it has got 12 grams of protein per serving in the pasta. There is no flour in it of wheat flour or semolina. No, it's not. So this is the Zenb pasta, which is very high in protein. We eat a lot of tempeh, which is very high in protein. Soya, as I said, big beans. And then greens, surprisingly, by weight, spinach has more protein than chicken. So you eat a lot of greens, you will get enough proteins. So there's no shortage of proteins. Now, second question is whether you need supplements or not. Most people, if they're supporting their bacteria in the gut, do not need any supplement, because your bacteria are the ones that make B12 and make all the vitamins and make all the enzymes for digestion. But if your digestive system is weak, then I would suggest B12 1,000 microgram daily in a liquid form or drops or sublingual daily.
What brand of organic mung dal flour are you using today?
I'm using the, it's called 24 Mantra. 24 Mantra, M-A-N-T-R-A.
Can you store the pancake batter overnight and use on subsequent days?
I would not store it for more than 24 hours. You can make it in the evening and do it in the morning. That will be fine. I don't know what would happen to the batter unless you put it in the refrigerator, because it may attract some fungus or bacteria. I've never tried doing overnight. Now, if you want to do overnight preparation, you should maybe go for a dosa recipe. Dosas are made with urad dal, which is a different kind of lentil, and with rice mixed together in fenugreek powder, and that ferments overnight and it rises. And then next day you blend it and you can use it to make dosas, which is a little bit different recipe than this. But here I don't see any reason why you have to make it overnight before. It takes only 10 minutes to make it.
How much ghee per day do you recommend?
Vatas can have up to 1 tablespoon a day. If their vata is very disturbed, then we can even give 2 tablespoons a day. Pittas can have about 1 tablespoon a day. Kaphas should have about half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon a day. So very small amount.
And where are you buying the 24 mantra flour?
This one, I got it in India. I just came back from India. I bought it there. But I'm sure if you go to Amazon, you could find it.
All right. I don't see any more questions. If you guys have any more questions, go ahead and put them in the chat now.
It's not on Amazon. The Mung
Okay.
Dahl powder.
No?
Need the Indian stores. That's why I was surprised he has it.
We're normally recommending to people to just grind the Mung Dahl, and it seems to be fine enough as a flour if they have like a Vitamix or a grain mill type of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I've never tried it, but I will try that way and see if that works out good.
Do you recommend supplementing with amla or guduchi herbs or triphala?
For what?
I don't know. I'm just reading the chat. Sorry.
I don't understand the question. What do you want it supplement to? Are you trying to supplement it with this recipe or in general?
While we wait for her to reply, I have another question. What about nuts as a source of protein?
Nuts are not as good a source of protein as the seeds are. So seeds, we use a lot of seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, grounded, all those have proteins. Seeds have more protein weight by weight than nuts. Nuts have more fat than proteins.
About the supplementing with amla and guduchi, she says just to support health, energy, and digestion.
Guduchi and amla both are immune supporting herbs. So they will help you with the immune system. But to use them for supporting your digestion, I would not recommend it. They have to be mixed with other herbs like pipli or ginger or black pepper before you can make it digestive. So amla, if you're using amla alone, is a immunoprotective. Guduchi is immunoprotective. Amla is good for vatas. Guduchi is good for pitta. But amla can be used for pitta also. But they are for immune protection, but not for digestion. Digestion, you need spices to help in the digestion.
Is fennel considered sweet or astringent?
What?
Fennel, is it considered sweet?
Fennel, if you have fennel seeds, they will be considered sweet and sweet, mostly sweet, maybe a little bit of pungent is there in fennel, cooling pungent. If you have fennel bulb, that will have sweet taste to it. So when you make fennel soup, you use the sweet, the fennel bulb, and that will be considered sweet. But fennel seeds have slightly pungent taste to them.
Thank you. And Gigi asks, what about using amla for cancer?
Well, that's a very loaded question.
Yeah.
I do not want to recommend that amla will cure cancer. It will help in boosting the immune system. That's all I can say.
Great. Where can we find information on your clinic in West Palm? You can just post a link to the
Yeah,
website in the
To
chat.
the website should have all the information you need.
All right. Don't have any other questions. We will post the recording of this video on YouTube and share a link. And Dr. Jain, you can share that link with your clients as well. So if anybody has any other questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to wrap up here. Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank
Jain,
you.
for hosting.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. We're just going to stay on for one more minute. Let me post this link in the chat so you guys can grab it. It's wellness. What's the link again, Dr. Jain?
Mind, Body, Wellness, Florida.com.
Got it. Okay, I'm going to post that here for you guys. Oh, I have one more question. This one's kind of fun. Dr. Jain, what's a typical dinner for you?
Typical dinner is mostly soup. In colder weather, which we don't see in Florida that much, but in colder weather, it is like a stew or something like that. You have to remember I'm at an age where Vata is increased, even though my constitution is not Vata. But as we get older, Vata increases. So I just turned 75. So my Vata is a little bit on a higher side. So a hearty stew is good for the evening, but it has to be done early, 6 o'clock, at the most 6:30, you're finished with your dinner. Or you can have some kind of a rice dish with some vegetables and tofu. That also will be good.
Wonderful. All right, you're getting tons of thank yous in the chat. Thank you, Dr. Jain. Learned so much. Can't wait to try this. Thank you for a wonderful recipe. Namaste. Thank you so much, Dr. Jain. Great presentation. All right, we're going to wrap up here. We're going to close this. Thank you guys for attending. Thank you, Dr. Jain.
Bye-bye, Courtney.
Bye.
Sign off.